Dexter's laboratory had quite a misleading title. The show was not all about Dexter's lab. It was not even all about Dexter for that matter. What about these recurring extensions to the show? Remember them? Of course you do. They have to themselves their own separate fan base. It's possible your favorite Dexter's laboratory joke is from one of them.
What do you get when you cross a zebra in a trench coat? A bonk on the head?
It's possible a character you admire is from one of these sections of the show as well. Gotta love Valhalla. It's possible you envy someone more than Dexter's dad who's here. For a show as iconic as Dexter's Lab, you'd think of it to be a bad idea for there to be these side shows. A little risky maybe, yeah? What if they ain't able to keep up with the standards set by the boy genius? The very first cartoons. And well, what a cartoon. No, it was first aired in the animation showcase series called What a Cartoon. Back in the February of 1995, when What a Cartoon was not even called What a Cartoon. And for such a legendary show to have more shows within it, do they stand a chance? Well, interestingly enough, they've pretty much been on par with Dexter's success, we could attest. They sure passed the test. And we can testify that they did do justice and justified. I mean, they have adorable characters, memorable storylines, banned episodes, and wait, what's that? Okay, not episodes, maybe singular, as it's just one that received this recognition to be excluded. But that's right, alongside root removal,
Where the are we? Beats the out of me!
we have Barbecue, an episode in the very first season of the show in which Barbecue's henchman Silver Spooner tries to sneak away some mustard and ketchup during Monkey's birthday party celebration, so that his master Barbecue could, feast on a planet in our solar system that's called Earth? Because, of course. Imagine we are superheroes at a picnic celebrating a monkey's birthday who's the strongest member of our group, by the way. And the next thing we know is this
Silvery Swindler has commandeered our condiments.
This flamboyant spoof of Silver Surfer couldn't pick another spot in the whole world, could he? Oh, and with that voice,
Let the feast begin!
that wrist, and well, that name,
I am the Silver Spooner.
no wonder he's largely considered the gay stereotype. And all that while parodying a Marvel Comics character without permission? Marvelous. Good luck. You're freaking gonna need it. And oh well, guess what? After a couple of airings, the episode gets taken off from further runs. Post-writers receiving copyright infringement threats? Yeah, surprise, surprise. And also gets banned from Cartoon Network. It was even replaced in the season 1 DVD of the show in the US with the season 2 episode Dexter Lab Story. And no, it can't be watched on the mainstream online media streaming platforms. However, the episode did make it in the Australian season 1 DVD set of the show that was released in 2008. The episode, nonetheless, was special. Talking about these segments of Dexter's Lab, it wasn't always that the characters of Dial M for Monkey and Justice Friends came together to accomplish a purpose. Be it to celebrate Monkey's birthday or to save the world from getting eaten whole. The only other time it would happen then would be in the last but not the least, the very last episode of the show indeed, or of season 2 at least. Which anyway in many ways was the end of the entire series to a large part of the fan base. And why not? We don't get shows like that anymore. They won't make characters as that Silvery Swindler at all. Why would they? That's crazy. An unsafe decision in the creation process with dicey outcomes. But once they did, and somehow, despite having been banned for so long, look, he's here still. Well, today there's a kind of cartoon or anime genre for literally everybody. I'm sure this Silver Spooner can find his place somewhere too. At this point, he's like classic, The entire thing, in fact. One of the moments that stick out for me in the episode is when the barbecue is pouring barbecue sauce on the planetary shish kebab and it starts to cover all the planets, including the Earth. You see the people screaming, seeing this swing of salsa that's about to fall over and swing them along. And it immediately hits you that, hey, it is probably one of the condiment bottles that Silver Spooner stole from the picnic that's been used by barbecue here. Once kept on an average table, being handled by almost normal-sized hands, is now somehow able to make an entire solar system yummier. Brilliant. Size inconsistency, sure, in this episode of the show is so having a field day. Of course, for some reason, as always, the security of the globe and the Friends of Justice are very much unable to even come close to saving the world. They get electrocuted, they crash to the earth from space, and whatnot. No matter what you say, Silver Spooner interestingly seemed to have an upper hand over Monkey until the very end. How did he manage to do that? I'm glad you asked. One would assume he'd absorb Monkey's powers, manipulate gravity, or use telekinesis to gain control over him, but no. Just his commanding nature and hard-hitting, sharp-stinging slaps seemed to be enough. That's quite impressive. So how did Monkey make it this time, you might wonder? What helped him? Banana? Sleep? Or Wizard of Oz? Yeah, of course. If only Mr. Spooner could control his emotions and not fall for Monkey's cheap shot, he would know that they were out in space, way up over the rainbow for there to be Judy Garland anywhere around them. If only he could lose that spoon and not be a spoof, silly, silvery swindler. If only the eater of the worlds could be less picky with the food. Then maybe, just maybe, this marvel of an episode would have survived. And I wanted it to because I love it. The ban probably only defeated the purpose. Would have been great to have more runs of the episode back when Cartoon Network was really the sole network of the cartoons we'd know. Okay, they parodied bad, but hey, it belonged to Dexter's lab. Laugh about his height all you want, but the show was a huge deal. It was even voted the most popular what a cartoon shot through various phone campaigns, web votes, and focus groups. Before which we only really had kind of originals in Cartoon Network like the Moxie Show and Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, that, you know. If it wasn't for the fall of Hanna-Barbera, if it wasn't for Fred Seibert's plan to let the artists break free, if it wasn't for Dexter's lab, for God's sake, we would not have many of the classics that we know today. Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, etc. This was legit the most authentic Cartoon Network ever got. This was the age of innovation for new faces in animation. Animators were handed the power and were invited to pitch their creations to the network. Could we even try to conceive a level of creativity even close to that? Go ahead and try imagining a day of broadcast schedule of shows including cartoon characters, storylines, and structure half as remarkable as what you see on the screen in 2025. No, sadly that's too happening to be happening now. People who know how to draw seem to have least freedom over what to draw. Control on the pencil is with people who hold the pen. Even though history is evident how audience has admired such originality. When things go outside of the hands, then hardly ever go outside of the pockets. In fact, originality also gives us the opportunity to regard the non-originals a little bit more. I mean, we as audience didn't care. We didn't know what's going on behind the scenes, whether what we're watching is new or a rerun, so long as it's fun. We know it now. Back then, we didn't, you know. It was just about the images that stayed with us. Raw sounds, real deal, the good stuff. Whose business is dying, what company is trying to save itself, was all beyond our knowledge at the time. We just knew we lost something on the day that we did. We knew not what we did to deserve what we did. Just like we didn't know what we had done to witness a revolution as this. Some guys in some part of the world were coming up with shorts that saved their jobs. In the process though, not sure if they know, they were mixing the ingredients that prepared a memorable childhood for us to cherish.
Turner Entertainment Networks proudly present the world's first 24-hour cartoon network.
That we still hold close for occasional warmth. Memories that remain still, fueling the passion to this day. Is not a responsibility or a thrill to flex. It is those pictures and audio in the head that's making it all fall flush and adhere. And I won't care if your favorite is a show where an Elvis impersonator with like the biggest biceps struggles to land a date, or the one where a dog has to keep saving a troubled couple from troubling ghosts at a troublesome place, or a little boy who secretly owns a whole lab. I wonder if there really is any good reason left for him to keep it a secret and hide it from his well-wishers when these destructive folks seem to have a 24/7 entry pass to get inside, as they appear to appear out of nowhere as they please, any day of the week. Change that goddamn name. There's so much more to it. Spin-off segments that go straight for the twist. Even someone who shouldn't exist. An action hero who could be rather polite. A delightful pony that's a devil inside. There's this Didi's room that seems to be, or appears to me, much more a mystery than Dexter's laboratory. Oh, and how about this treehouse? Back of the bus. The detention room, mysterious cupboards. What about this place? And so many other places. There's just a lot to it. Knowing not, at times, what the craze is, we embrace it. Even if we avoid the places, how can we, the faces? All the characters in the show with their meticulously written and metaphorically linking storylines. No wonder it all needed separate subsections to flow into. Crossing universes, confusing audiences, until the day that it would all just suddenly stop. And we'd grow up. At the end, it hardly matters what angle we preferred, which story was our favorite. And if you more watched a show that I never found enough time to see, whether we do or do not agree, so long as we're not forgetting this logo. Jeez. Alternating blacks and whites that painted millions of childhoods. Colorful indeed. If you would. Please. Good. So, where were we at? Yeah. Why was this episode banned? Well, we'll address the elephants in the room, starting with the one usually people don't talk about when they talk about this episode, if they at all talk about it. Barbecue. A straight parody of Galactus. Maybe Marvel lost all confidence in Galactus after looking at Barbecue's awesome barbecuing skills and were worried Galactus might get scared off by the giant utensils of clearly the more dope Barbecuer. Or we can just go with the more infamous one. This silver. I mean, there's not a single thing that I could think of adding to this character to make it any more anti-Silver Surfer. They say Barbecue is just as responsible for the ban as Silver Spooner. Why does then the Silvery Swindler get all the hate? Well, I guess cause although Barbecue is basically Galactus, he still is the eater of the worlds. May not be the devourer, but hey, he still looks badass. Dude treats humans like mosquitoes. Barbecues our freaking solar system.
Oh, say, can you see as he rounds our red glare?
And guess what? Whistles. Yeah, he needs condiments to down them spheres. Yes, he's seen biting on Uranus. Yes, a monkey turned him into a puger of the worlds, rather. But come on, it's all funny fun. Don't get me wrong, the silver is funny too. Too funny though. And there's the problem. It's the kind of funny that you can't laugh at when the makers are around. Barbecue, spoof funny, silver, insult funny. So I guess we have a winner. Thank you, Silver Spooner. You had to work too hard for this victory that everyone I guess would agree you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, just under your feet. We're sorry we had to be spoon-fed about your achievements by nostalgia during all these years of your absence in order to just appreciate your presence. That's sincerely missed. And even if we get a wooden spoon to take this long to regard a silver spoon, guess it'll be cool. As we have learned to imagine lost castles we ruled and be fooled by the sights we admire without actually seeing or being there in time. Either that all, or we can just shrug it off blaming Grunk's drinking habits.